time out. Before we go any further, we need to talk about something that is central to the current conversation with flipped learning. Flipped learning is not about the video. Flipped learning can be entirely done on paper. I prefer digital medium based on the students that I work with, the style of my classroom, and where I wish to go with it. But not everything has to be digital. The other side of this coin, however, is that not everything that is digital is flipped learning. Please hear me out. Just because you show a video, that is not flipped learning. There's been no conscious effort to determine, does this digital element, does it belong in the individual space? Does it belong in the group space? And the goal of that digital element needs to be something that is intentional. It needs to be something that fits in the broader framework of the classroom. And it needs to be something that is making the best use of class time. So let me give you two examples right here. I have one classroom that shows a video on World War II. It's a 10-minute video clip. Here's another classroom that uses a 10-minute video clip on World War II, same exact video clip. This teacher is using it in class and shows it to the entire class as the starter or the basis material for maybe a original document reading and discussion on that original document. This teacher uses the same video, still is going to get to that same discussion on the original document reading that's going to follow. Now let's talk about the differences. This teacher watched the 10-minute video in class, then have the students read the original document in class silently, and then answer questions on a worksheet about it, and or got in groups to talk about that original document, what it meant, what questions it brought up, what things they saw in it, and what were the implications. That's pretty good in terms of a traditional classroom. There's nothing wrong with that. And they used a little technology. They used original documents. They used peer-to-peer learning. It's some good stuff going on here. But let's look at it in a flipped environment. From a traditional environment to a flipped environment. In this case, the 10-minute video is put somewhere where the students can access it digitally. Because it's a video. It's on YouTube. It's on something else. It can be something that the teacher samples and puts into some sort of presentation or Google Doc. Regardless of how the teacher does it, it is accessible to students 24/7, 7 days a week. Additionally, the teacher has the students pre-read the original document. And they attempt to do that reading, or maybe even just a portion of that reading. If it's a long doc, they only have to do this much and come prepared with a question or two questions to class. Alternative, this teacher could also have the students use an Ed puzzle or a Quizlet or any other number of data gathering formative assessments to get information from the student about the basics on that Bloom's triangle on that original document or just the video, depending on the level of class they're teaching. Now, when the students come to class, this teacher does not have the students read the original document. The teacher gets up and orates that original document so that the flow and the pacing and the implication of hearing it live or read can be something that the students hear, not just silent reading time. And it takes the teacher just a few minutes to read maybe just a portion of that document. Then the students get together and compare the questions they had previously from the document in class. And they attempt to answer each other's, coming up with the best questions to take to the rest of the class. And those become the starter for the activity. Both of these examples are good teaching. This is not flipped just because it has a video. This was flipped because some of those elements went to the individual space, and some of those things were left in the group space. You'll notice 10-minute video, even if you allow 10 minutes for document reading, assuming all the students will get it done, 20 minutes of class is gone before the first question is asked or answered. Here, the questions are at least begun before the student even reaches the classroom. Now, I already hear some of the questions. What if a student doesn't read a document? What if the student didn't answer the questions online? All are very good questions. But the reality is, those students that did do it have already gotten a head start, regardless of whether every single student did it or not. Because you can still always take the students that didn't do it, and they can become a group. And that group can become their own subset and start it just like this class. Will they get as much out of it as the other students? Maybe, maybe not. But in all cases, all students complete the learning objective. So what is flip? What is not flip? Those things are not just because we use technology or didn't use technology. They're not just video or not video. Intentional content means, what do we intend the students to do? What do we intend the students to learn? And what parts fit best in which context? So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an exact or example definition of what flipped learning might look like, in this case in a social science class. So just because it's digital doesn't make it flipped, and just because it's flipped doesn't mean you have to use digital.